Okay. I think we're here. And if we are, that'd be great. I mean, I see that it's all up and everything, but I don't know. My tools don't give me a shit ton of confidence. And a lot of that's mostly probably user error. But let's see. We're tracking. Tracking over here. All right. Okay. Well, good to see everybody. Welcome here. Monday. It is April 6th, 2026, Monday night. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on the goings on from the shop from this last weekend. Not bad. It was pretty nice, and I did hear back from our friend overseas today, and got a couple of answers to a few questions I'd posed over the last couple of weeks. This guy is very, very busy, so the fact that he has time for any of my fucking nonsense is pretty cool. So, the fact that he took some time today to reply to my email, answer a couple of questions, and just acknowledge where we are in the build was pretty cool. So where are we with the build? Showed you guys last week. More stuff on both the neck and the body from this last weekend, and I made some decisions on some of the other projects we're working on. So I'll show you a little bit of that as well. So let's start with this awesome short scale. Now, one of the changes that I made, you'll see here. Hey, Ken, what's with the tape? That's covering up some of the detail that I added after getting a couple of answers to my questions. So maybe you could infer that that's an inlay of some sort. And if you did that, well, hey, good fucking job to you. No points or a million points because the points don't matter, right? So I'm going to get something laid in there. That should be a lot of fun, and very excited about that. Test fit on everything, and final fit on the nut there, and everything looks really good. So I don't have, or sorry, the slope up to the nut, and the fretboard looks really good. So came out nice and clean, and I'm really happy with the contour that I got out of this. And there's a bit of purpose behind where I took the stinger to stinger. I call it a stinger, but it's just the contour there on the back of the headstock. But I took it out beyond or just right to kind of in line with the back of the nut. And, not only does it just feel like a good place to kind of stop your hand, that's one thing. Obviously, comfort's everything. And feel is everything, if it looks great in the corner and you pick it up and you're thinking awesome, and then, it plays like shit, well, you're kind of in trouble, and so am I as the builder. So every step of the way here, I'm thinking about how nice is this thing actually going to play. So put a few more couple more hours in just the shape and the contour of the neck where it meets the headstock here, and just how that's going to feel when you're engaging these upper frets, or the lower frets, excuse me, and where your hand is going to rest on the back as well. And like I said, I've had my 11-year-old giving me some feedback on the neck here, and I haven't had a chance for her to check this out yet. So when she gets home from dance tonight, hopefully I'll get a chance to chat with her about it, and she can give me some feedback on how that feels. Now, she's not an expert by any stretch; she's a drummer, but she has an 11-year-old's hands. So mainly I just want to understand from her point of view, is this neck carve comfortable for her hand? And if so, and if it feels like something that she can move around good, then I'm a pretty happy guy. That should do our friend over in Europe a really good treat. So you'll notice that I also added dot inlays. Now, what do we have here? Okay, I did use a few that I had on the shelf because I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. Now, this young lady has selected black hardware, as I mentioned before, so I decided that we would go ahead and do black mother of pearl, and the body is going to be bright and, yes, pink. So I did the 12th fret dots there. Hopefully that's going to come up and show up there. It's going to try and find me, but whatever. There you go. Look at it searching. That, I tell you, this camera, I won't say the name of it. I'll tell you guys some other time. It wants to focus on everything except for my face, even though you've got it in this like the AI mode and shit, and it's supposed to be looking for it doesn't do a great job, but what do you expect? It was 120 bucks. It was literally on sale for like half price. So, it's a known brand. It's a good brand, but I'm not having a ton of luck with it because if you notice, I got to get like up here, really separate myself from the background. That's when it focuses the best. Anyway, tangent. ADD's working overtime. Okay, so anyway, I did black mother of pearl for the main dots, and then for the 12th fret, pink mother of pearl. I think they look great. Side dots are a black mother of pearl as well, and these ones have kind of a green tint to them. So there's more that are definitely, black mother of pearl, and you're like, oh, that's definitely black mother of pearl. But there's a couple that are green enough, and that I'm like, wow, it actually looks almost abalone. But when you see some of the areas of the mother of pearl from the front dots, they are from kind of the same shells. So you can see that on the black mother of pearl, there's actually a lot of sections in there that are green. And I have some in here that really picked up a lot of that green. So, but it looks really, really pretty. One shows a lot more pink up here than black as well, but I have a lot of black and green on the side ones here. So isn't that pretty? I like the way that came out. I'm really happy with that. So should be nice and comfortable. And yeah, that's the 4mm hole for the truss rod adjustment. So that should be pretty nice. Okay, so that's the short scale neck that we did some work on. Let me get the body real quick. We did a couple of updates on the body. Okay. So on the body, finished up the comfort carve. There you go. You can kind of see that there. That looks really nice. It feels really nice, and it just sets perfectly, just right there. So, even if you've got your foot up on a stool or something, doesn't matter. It just leans in. It's very, very comfortable. So, really happy with that. Looks good. And yeah, filled in the end there. So that's turquoise. I like to fill any kind of void like that. I really do like the crushed turquoise for a lot of that stuff on my basses and guitars. And I think that you'll understand a bit more why I went with the turquoise, even though this top is going to be really bright and really pink. I wanted something here. You guys notice, right, that I did not do um, a line of veneer between the top and the body, right? So, and these woods are very, very similar in color, which I love. Even after you, like when I wipe this down with mineral spirits to kind of get a sense for what the finish would look on just like a raw body, there's not a ton of difference between the color of the top and the alder on the back. And as far as just kind of how brown they are, I guess because you can definitely see like there's a lot more figure in that than this beautiful just straight clear grain on the alder on the back. And I think I mentioned before the reason that I chose alder for the back is a couple reasons. Number one, this is a younger player, and this thing needs to be pretty light, and alders are pretty lightweight wood. And but it also it's going to be brightly colored. I want the back to be brightly colored as well, and alder takes stain and color really well and nice and evenly. So so it's going to look great. But I didn't put a line in between those two layers on purpose because I had an idea for what I was going to do, and I am going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to end up taping that off right there at the parting line. And I'm going to do just a really, really narrow, very, very subtle burst right on the edge, just right to that parting line. So I'm going to tape that off with a vinyl tape and just do a really, really light, kind of gray, silvery gray, black edge along that'll feather into the rest of the top. So not really a, I would hesitate to call it a burst because it's not going to come into the finish to any measurable extent. I'm going to use a dark rose, so like more of a hot pink, dark kind of dark hot pink on the outer perimeter. So it is going to be a burst, but it's going to be like a rose burst. So the middle is going to be a lighter pink, but it's going to be very, very pink, very, very bright. Going to show the figuring off in this wood really, really nicely. So I'm excited about that. But I did want something that was going to just kind of give this edge, real definition against from the alder to the maple here, and maybe even give it just kind of a hint of, oh, that's where like maybe a binding would show up, So that's what I'm talking about. The black's not going to influence the top very much at all, right? It's going to be a darker pink that's going to mix in with that black. Trust me, you're just going to have to see it. It's really hard to describe here, but I can see it up in here, and you're just going to have to trust that I got an idea where I'm going to go with that. But the back is just going to be it's going to be a bright, solid pink. You're going to really be able to see this beautiful grain through it, and it'll just be pink and pretty. And I'm going to do a wipe on poly finish. It's going to be thinned out with mineral spirit so that it kind of just lays in really, really nicely and just kind of flows into the grain really nicely. So that's going to be the first several coats. And then I'll probably end up thickening it up just a hair, right? Still maybe like a 2/3 to 1/3 mix with the mineral spirits. So it still flows and lays down nice and flat. I've always found that to be a better process for those of you guys that are finishing at home. But I'm not going to build it up very thick. I still want to see, kind of the wood grain coming through. So, I don't want the wipe on poly to look at all like plastic. I mean, that's like my enemy for any of these, really. Any of the bases that I'm doing that has a natural wood finish, I'm still right now my favorite finish is a true oil finish, and I've been able to work with that and learn how to really get it on in a way that lays it on nice and thin but super, super strong. Thin layers is the key to that, and what I found for those of you guys that are doing this stuff at home as well, makeup pads. Those little makeup sponges. Don't get the ones that have color in them. I found that sometimes mineral spirits and shit like that will mess those up crazy. But mineral spirits mess up the makeup pads, just the regular ones as well. But I like the ones that are just white makeup pads. Take that, true oil, or even like boiled linseed oil and things like that. Man, those things spread that oil super, super clean. It doesn't leave any debris or dust or anything like that. It just wipes them on really, really nice, super, super smooth. And I have found that I can get, especially with like true oil that tends to harden up in just a couple of hours, I'm able to get at least a few layers throughout the day, nice thin layers, because again, they dry so quickly. Nice thin layers on there with one of those makeup pads and the true oil for doing that. So I'm gonna do the same thing with this. I'm gonna do color, get the color blended and everything that I want from that. And I will be using like a 4/0 steel wool. I think steel wool with the Angelus dyes works really, really well as far as just kind of getting it. A couple things, I think that it grinds the pigment into the top, especially on a softer top like this, a little bit better. Evens things out quite a bit as well. If you have areas that just don't look a little bit good, or if they just are a little bit splotchy, some woods do that, get a little splotch in the finish. I have found that 4/0 steel wool, you can just kind of get after it a little bit more in those areas that look a bit darker and lighten them up enough to where it blends in really, really nice, and it doesn't look like doesn't look blotchy. It looks purposeful. It looks nice and even. So that is what we're gonna do with it. All right, so that's the short scale for our friend over in Europe. And again, it was really great to hear from him today. I know he's super busy, so thanks for taking the time today, my friend, and getting an email back to me and letting me know that you're seeing what we're putting down here and everything is cool. So and answering my questions about this in particular, I'm excited to show you guys what we got there and how we have personalized this for this young lady. But yeah, what that's going to be is a bit of inlay. Now, All right, so here's what I'm going back and forth on right now, and what's really driving me crazy is I would normally do this with mother of pearl, and I was thinking about doing it. I have these really beautiful big pieces of gold mother of pearl, and I was thinking about cutting up, a bunch of those to fit in here. But I kind of did it backwards. I was thinking about what the design was going to look like, and for this, and I drew it up on the directly on the headstock. Drew up directly on the headstock, and then I just went to carving, and I what I should have done was I should have carved it into the pieces, glued the pieces on, carved around the pieces, and then I would have had a much easier time with this. So doing it backwards like this means that I need to get this carved out, get an impression of it, transfer that to the gold mother of pearl, and then drop it down. Or, and here's probably the better choice here. And honestly, I think probably for the longer term, I don't know if the pink mother of pearl is going to look great on here. I think I want something that kind of goes with what's going on here a bit more. And since we're going to do the black hardware, we've already taken a look at it, right? And I actually did test it. I tested it both with the hip shot ultralight with the clover tuning pegs and the Gotos with the modern ones. The Gotos are almost twice as heavy. So as soon as I put those on, and I showed that to you guys last week in the video, as soon as I bolted those things on and I put the whole thing together, I was like, wow, I just don't know if that's going to feel right for this young player. So, but also, I have those beautiful hip shots, and so I bolted them on. On this headstock, they do look really good, and they actually kind of invoke more of the flavor of the early P bass, right? So, I mean, I didn't go the 4 line, but because I like my headstock. I think it's pretty, and I like the 4. I like the 2+2. I just think it makes for a great looking bass. So, and we weren't exactly trying to match, the early 50s P bass. We were just we're going to really go for that sound. So that was more important to me, was how this thing is going to look. And I think that this headstock looks great on a P bass, and it's going to look fun. It gave me room to be able to personalize this as well. So I'm happy with it. But yeah, I think that's going to look really good. I don't remember where I was going with that. Who cares? Anyway, still coming along with this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to reveal this. I think, I know where I was going. As far as the inlay there. I don't know if I'm going to do gold mother of pearl on this. I just don't know if it fits it, especially with the black mother of pearl and the rest of this and stuff. So what I may end up doing with the black hardware and everything is I may end up doing a black epoxy in there, in the inlay there. So I think it'll stand out really, really nicely against the really bright maple there. And if I color match the headstock to the body, and I think I would be kind of dumb not to, I think it'll look really great if it's that, it's going to be bright pink like the body. I think a matching headstock with the black hardware and the black nickname in the top there too, or whatever it is I'm going to carve in there. You didn't hear me say nickname. I didn't say nickname. I think it's going to look really great. So that's probably going to be the direction I'm going to go. I think that's where I'm going to end up. I think we're going to end up doing this in a black epoxy. Yeah, I think that'll look really cool. And I just need to make sure maybe a little bit of glitter in the epoxy too, right? So it really kind of sparkles at you. That would be cool, right? Especially if I do the pink headstock. I think we got a winning combination there. I think we just made the decision on that. All right. What else do we got going on? Oh, okay. So, canary wood base. Let's look at that one next. Oh man, I put that way too far away. Holy cow. I usually put this stuff closer so I don't have to lean so far. But so the canary wood. So you guys, that's the other canary wood base back here. So this is the 969B Coupe. This is the GT, the Grand Touring, and this is the final shape for this. It is getting sanded right now, and I did do a comfort carve on this one as well. slightly different shape than on the other bass, but man, it it just sits really, really nice. It sits really nice, and the weight of this thing is just bonkers, bonkers light. So it's a genuine mahogany back on that. God, I don't know my left from my right. Jeez Louise, Ken. It's a genuine mahogany back, and we did the that's a maple and Paduke veneer in there, and then the canary wood top. And that Paduke veneer is beautiful because it matches the all the gold and orange tones in the top here beautifully. So, and I know you guys can. So there you go. You can see those are essentially cut from the same stack of wood, right? So I think I had that board was maybe like an inch and a quarter, inch and a half thick, so like a 6/4 or 5/4 board, and I cut it. I just basically cut it into a handful of 1/4 inch thick pieces. So I have these two essentially finished bodies in these two shapes, and I have one more top sitting out in the garage, just kind of getting seasoned and waiting for its turn to get made into something next. So, so what are we doing here? Got the neck marked out for it. I'll show you guys the neck for it here in just a second. Really, really happy with the neck, and very, very excited about how that one's coming together. And I got the dots put in as well. Anyway, back to the body. So you guys can see here it was blank, and it's because I haven't been able to really make up my mind which way I'm going to go with it. And you know, for a while I was like, well, this is just going to be the P bass, right? With the you know, like the PJ back here, which is the DiMarzio Relentless pickups, which I love. They're so fun. They really do sound great, you know, and it's a great little PJ. So for a long time, I thought this was just going to be the P bass version, right? So because I have those gold DiMarzio Relentless, or sorry, not P bass, but jazz bass pickups that I really thought I was going to do with this, and this was just going to be that, maybe the onboard preamp, and I've completely changed my mind. So this is going to get a different set of pickups. It's either going to get, I think it's going to get the Delanos and the OBP3 preamp. So because this guy here needs to come apart. I have a few things. For those of you that know me, you guys know that I get these things put together and they end up getting played for like a year. They're listed, you know, I mean, but you know, these are expensive basses and guitars, so they end up staying listed for a long time. And what, you know, those of you guys who already know me and have known me for a while know that I put these together, I play them, and everything that pisses me off about them, that's what gets fixed. Not fixed, that's a bad word for it. That's what gets attention throughout the year. And don't mind that, that's fine. That's what gets all the attention throughout the year, right? So as I'm working on new basses and thinking about new designs, everything that you see on the wall back here is getting, you know, revised. So now that doesn't mean that, like, if you buy it, if you buy it, what happens? Well, you know, like I say, I usually play them for a long time and I make revisions to them as the time goes on. But if you end up seeing one that you love, you can bet your ass that thing's going to go right back in the shop tomorrow. And well, I mean, and anything that I know about it, I'm going to be taken care of right there, right? So it's like, the neck feels a little bit thick here, so let me take care of that. And maybe the body needs a little bit more contour back here. I think it'll be more comfortable, and that's exactly what's going on with the B coupe, the Wengy Top B coupe here. I love it. I love playing it, but it sits a little bit. It feels like it sits a little bit away from me, and I think that that's because I didn't go very generous on the belly carve. So I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna fix that. I ended up staying with a thicker body on that bass, and not taking generous enough body cut for the way it just kind of feels in my lap and sits in my lap. So, you know, these are prototypes at the same time as they are for sale, one-off custom basses. So each one is a prototype. So what I love about what I do is with them is getting a chance to play them and pick them apart, figure out the things that just drive me up a wall or whatever, as a builder, I am my own worst enemy, so I make this sound like it's just, I'm going to be I'm going to be turning over garbage to you. And that sounds terrible. That's probably the worst way to sell these things, Ken. But the and it's not the case at all. I am my own worst enemy. So the refinements that we're talking about are so small that the average player probably wouldn't even notice that I made a change. And but I notice, I notice that that's a little bit different there. Or I can feel that when I run my thumb right there. I can feel that, you know, one tenth of a millimeter difference in where the neck meets the heel there, and I want to take care of stuff like that. So that's what I do. And also, if I find any place that might have gotten a scratch on or a little thing here or there, I want to take care of those as well. So that's what'll happen, right? So the last few bases that I've sold, I've actually been earlier in their playing cycle. And well, one of them was the pink base that sold in December. I'd played that one every single day for a year and made refinements to it. And the player just recently sent me a message telling me how much he loved it and he was having a lot of fun with it. So I'm really, really happy about that. And then the sunflower base that went back east, that, from what I understand, that guy recorded a whole album with it. So that's pretty cool. But so those were ones that I got to play a bit before they went out the door. But a couple of others that I did. One of the guitars that I did went out the door almost immediately, and that was a bit scary, right? When I was like, all right, well, he certainly, I mean, not that he won't notice anything that I might notice, but maybe they're not as big a deal. Again, I'm my own worst enemy with all of this stuff. So, but I think that's what it is, right? That's what separates the custom guitars that you get from guys like me and other folks out there who are building one-off instruments from the mass-produced stuff. Is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to fret over every single tiny detail, pun intended. And so before it goes out the door to you, you can bet that I'm going to be taking a really close look at all the things about it that I want you to love, and all the things that you might hate. You can bet that I've probably taken a look at those and addressed them in some way. So anyway. I'm really happy with where these are, but I think I'm going to take the Delanos out of this guy right here. So while this one is getting its update, I'm going to take these. I'm not a rich person here, folks. I'm going to take these pickups and put them in this bass, and it'll get the OBP3 as well. I'm going back and forth on that. I've heard from a few players that say that, particularly with the Delanos, they just rather have them wired up like a pair of humbuckers, or volume blend, and then just a couple tone pickups or whatever. Maybe a switch to switch from one to the other. But yeah, a little less enthusiasm for an onboard preamp for the Delanos, and I can kind of see why after playing this one. I kind of get the idea that they've got an awful lot of just punch and and just in musicality in general. So maybe a preamp isn't quite as mandatory for them. A lot of guys just want to go ahead and run that directly through, maybe through a pedal, or and then into their favorite amplifier, or directly into their amplifier, and just get the raw tones out of it. Because man, oh man, oh man, those Delanos are something. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a set of pickups that really respond well to an onboard preamp, that they're inferior. I'm just saying that they're different. So, like, take the Nordstrands here in the ash top, which is getting a refinement coming up here as well. But these guys here, I have found that, they sound great. When you just middle everything on the preamp, and to just essentially take it out of the equation, they sound awesome. When you want to color them up, they take it extraordinarily well. And it's not really surprising, right? Because everything that I've seen online about those pickups as well, those are the big splits, those and the big blades as well, everything kind of in that family tells me that most people that play them really do like them kind of either way. They'll take them with the onboard preamp. They'll run them through a pedal directly into their favorite amp. But that when they do run them with an onboard preamp or through even a pedal preamp, that they color up really, really nicely, and that's exactly what I found. I think that they sound amazing, um, and I'm excited to use them in more stuff. And that's going to be one of the next things too. So all right, so let's go there. So first, let me. That's the canary wood pockets all cut for it. So in the next couple of days, I'll get the mounting screws. And the pockets for those. You can see I already got it marked out. But the top for this has already been filled in as well. So you can see where I've done the, again, little turquoise body filler. So really happy with that. And the neck for this cat is right here. And I'm partway through this one as well. I tell you, my ADD is a fun thing. So I got the dots in this one, and just going to be gold mother of pearl for all of these, which I love gold mother of pearl. I really do, whether it's block or dot. And the reason that I like going with it, well, why don't you go with something fancy, man? And for the inlays, because I do dots on purpose on a lot of these because I want you to look somewhere else. I'm not asking you to look at the neck on this space, and it's got the pinstripes on the side there already, so that beautiful binding and the triple on the build on the neck there. So yeah, I'm not asking you to look at the fretboard. Fretboard's not trying to get your attention. I just wanted something super clean, super pretty. The rosewood is beautiful. That's what I really want you to focus on, is just how, when I put this thing under oil, you're gonna just be blown away. I've seen it. Trust me. And same thing, I mean, when you see the oil hit the flaming on this maple, on this roasted maple neck, that's where I want your attention. So that's why I'm not making this, the inlays on this, anything more than just a really pretty, clean gold dot. That's not where I want your attention going. So, so that's the neck. So this is the combo here. These will soon be one. Just about getting there. So yeah, I got the heel all carved up in there, and that was going to be the part of this conversation tonight as well. Anyone out there who's doing these things on their own, I'm going to take you guys through just a few of the kind of different iterations of these necks that I do here, but really quickly, I got a couple changes too for the the black one, the black with the maple top here. Ooh, that's shiny. Isn't that shiny? Look at that. Oh, the light shining off of that one. That's pretty. So this is just this really cool figured maple and little canary wood strip going down the middle. And this canary wood had kind of a dark gray going through the grain anyway. So I was like, well, that's going to look cool there. So that'll be a fun center strip. And then of course, again, this beautiful mahogany back, and this step's again pretty lightweight. So it looks pretty nice. What's up? My oldest child is home. This one's already set for the neck. Cavity's all ready to go. But so I've made a change here. So I'm actually not going to end up using the Fishman's on this, and I just didn't love how that was coming out, what I wanted to do with it. So I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do it with a couple of plates here though too, so I don't. I didn't want to fill the body in either. It didn't really warrant it. So I'm going to do like a top plate for those DiMarzio jazz bass pickups, and those jazz bass pickups is what's going to end up in this bass, right? I just think that the gold pickups are going to look a lot better in this than in anything else, and I think that this will be a really fun one for it. So it's going to have, and I'm going to do just a regular jazz bass wiring on this, so it'll be volume, master, tone for those. But those are those DiMarzios are a humbucker as well. So each one of them, they're a 4-wire instead of a 2-wire. So they're not single coils, the DiMarzios, and they're a lot higher output. So I actually do have the option there if I want to put a switch on them, like I do with like on these Solanos here, where I have the pair of switches here that'll let you go from series to single coil to parallel. I could do the same thing with those DiMarzios, and I'm thinking about doing that here. So it would look like a standard jazz setup, but then you'd be able to switch between series parallel and true single coil sounds. So, and with the placement on it too, I'm going for more of a classic P bass sound. So, or jazz bass sound. Excuse me. I keep saying P bass. I got P bass on the brain. A lot of my stuff has been P basses. So, but the jazz bass sound. So, kind of a '60s classic jazz bass sound should be pretty nice. So that's what we're going with that. But I think that's really going to suit that a lot better with that, and making progress in the neck here as well. So I ended up going and replacing the dot inlays here again with just a nice clean gold. And I haven't made up my mind yet here. I think that I need to get rid of a couple of bits there from the old inlay that I just didn't like, didn't make sense for this neck. So ended up, when we ended up surfacing it, took most of it out except for right on the edge. So I'm gonna end up having to cover that up. But I think what I'm gonna end up doing is just doing a gold mother of pearl, like a block in there on either side, and that'll get it done. But I think that's gonna look good. But all the contours now done on this, and the radius is in the fretboard, and again, I didn't go with something crazy over the top with the fretboard dots or anything. I really want them to kind of hide because I want you to pay attention to that beautiful pale moon ebony fretboard, right? And of course, just the pretty top that it's matched up with. I mean, these are going to look really great together. So that's what I want. This camera has no idea what to do. Go somewhere. There you go. That looks good, right? Okay. All right. So that's that. Now, so that's where these get to after they've been through a car. But there's a couple of steps before that. I'll usually end up doing like this one. I've had the carve on it now for a bit, and I haven't put the final thickness on it yet. So you can kind of see there where I've made a few marks along the length of it here, kind of in this area where I know I want to get down to. So this one needs to be taking the thickness on the back, but you can see here too that I have not done the radius on it yet. So needs to have the radius done, and then of course frets and stuff like that. You guys get it. But that's so that's kind of like, this is one step behind the two necks that I just showed you, and then one step behind that is down, Cujo, stay, good boy. One step behind that is when we don't have the back carved yet. So this is a blank. I've taken this almost down to thickness. I need to take another pass through the bandsaw, rip it down a size a little bit closer to the line there, flatten it up. I'll do that with the Shinto rasp across the top or across the back here to get the profile that I want. And then I'll mark it up and start putting the carve on the neck. And I do all that by hand with the Shinto rasp and several different Iwasaka razor files, which I really like. And then, eventually we'll get the wings glued on to the headstock, get the headstock cut to length, and that'll be the next step. But you can see here we've got it kind of started to radius there. So we'll get that all cleaned up. But I love this. I love this neck. I love the way this one comes out. So this one, I already know which body this one's going to end up on too. So this is going on to the that really pretty piece of Zircode that I found up at California Exotic Hardwoods. And I think I showed you guys the top a few weeks ago, and it's sitting there. It's just kind of hanging out now, waiting for something to happen. And what I'm really waiting on is I need to get these two projects, well, these three projects essentially finished up. I need to get that Wenge top base taken apart and start working on the modifications for it. And then I can go ahead and spend a little bit of time working on that one. And that's going to be a mahogany body with the Zircode top. It'll have a a maple pinstripe between those two layers. So I'm really looking forward to doing that one. But this, I love this neck, and it is pretty. It is a super pretty piece of uh, roasted flame maple, and you guys can see. I mean, it's just going to be ridiculous, and you can see here too. So this is from the same cuts as a couple of the other um, rosewood pieces that I've got. So like these two, those are from, actually I take that back. Those are from different bundles. And you can see here too. So that's the difference, right? So these are both East Indian rosewood. And you can see this one is in my left hand here is quite a bit more pink than this one. This one seems to have a bit more yellow. Or is that backwards? No, I got it right. Yellow and a lot more pink. So I'm really stoked about that, actually. And just how pretty both of these are. So this one just so has a lot of pink, but this one, yeah, this one's going to look great on that zero, because that zero coating top as well has a lot of yellow in the figuring, and that big yellow stripe going right down the middle. That's going to end up going right down the center of the base. So this is going to look like something else on there. And this one just has a nice, simple maple and black pinstripe in the middle. So I don't think it's going to be able to get close enough for you to see all three of those in there. You might be able to. Yeah, that's not too bad. There you go. So, but yeah, so this is going to be super, super pretty. And yeah, and that'll be it. So that's this is one step. Like I said, this is one step behind where we have the carve done, and then we'll put the radius in the top. And then right before that, before we even get to putting on a fingerboard, is just a blank. I don't have a step before this. I've already got the truss rod and the carbon fiber stiffening rods installed in this one, and you can see here, so that's how I cover up this is the spoke wheel for the truss rod. So this is how you actually adjust the truss rod. This is what you see poking through on all these other ones here, right? So that's what you see down there, that hole. That is so you can adjust this guy, and you use a tool. Just use a tool just like that. So it just goes down in there, and by turning this back and forth like that, that will change the straightness of the fretboard. So once I get the fretboard on here, made into a neck, get strings on it. You know, those strings, they pull a shit ton. And what they're doing is they're trying to turn this neck into a banana. So obviously the material in the neck takes care of an awful lot of that, but then the carbon fiber truss rods do a lot to help stiffen that, make sure that it doesn't move very much. And then this truss rod being able to be adjusted two ways. When it gets pulled up, if it pulls up too far, then I can use the truss rod to pull that back a bit. If for some reason, you know, weird changes in humidity or whatever, and it starts to pull into a back bow, I can actually crank this the other direction to put a little bit of more relief into it. So essentially, if the neck is too flat, I can put a little curve in it, and if it's too curved, I can make it flatter. So that's all that does. And those truss rods, those carbon fiber rods that you see there on either side of it, just give it a bit more stability. And, you know, yeah, I get it. You're cutting wood out to replace with a carbon rod. Why? Because the carbon fiber rods are stiffer for the same space that they take up. And because of their shape as well, you know, they add like an I-beam kind of structure to the neck, so it keeps it nice and stiff. And that's what you want, especially with a roasted maple neck like this. Roasted maple is pretty stable, but flame maple's not. So by getting this stuff flamed or torrefied, you get a lot more stable piece of wood. But at the same time, because it's, you know, super flame, that's usually a more unstable piece of wood. So the carbon fiber rods, especially if you're a touring musician, especially on a bass, you know, something that's this freaking long. If you're a touring musician, then, you know, it's kind of a hit and miss on how much you're going to be adjusting the truss rod while you're on the road. Now, if you got a guy doing that for you every night, kudos, number one. But also, that guy's probably taking a look at that for you every night to make sure that you've got a good setup before you hit the stage. If you're doing it yourself, and you've got decent skills and can put a setup on something, then you probably don't have much worry about it either. But I still want to make sure that whoever is out there, if you're going to be taking this thing on the road, it still stays pretty stable for you. So doing the carbon fiber rods and a really good quality double adjustable truss rod just ensures that you get to do that. So that's where we go from there. So this is basically like one step up from just having a few sticks of wood glued together and made into a stick. So that's where they start essentially. So that's my neck process. Figure out what woods I want to use there. This started out as a single piece of hard roasted maple, a couple pieces of that Paduke that I had left over from those other projects, and really pretty piece of maple. And yeah, this is going to be a really, really nice neck. Oh man, this thing's been together for a few weeks now, and it just is not moving. It is perfectly stable. So start with a good platform, end up with a good platform, right? Garbage in, garbage out. It's that same principle applies here as well. So looking forward to getting this one and making some decisions. I haven't made a decision yet on this one, even what base it's going on. I have no idea, or what fretboard it's going to get. So it may get another one of the rosewood pieces. I've got one more piece of rosewood left. Might get something else. I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll get there. So yeah, that's where we are. So I've got the Wengate top base. It's going to get upgraded here shortly, and it's going to donate its Delanos to the canary wood top base, and the short scale for that young lady's coming along wonderfully. So I'm really excited about that. It's not long for it to be in color. So I need to, over the next week, do a shitload of sanding, and I'm going to tape that bit off, and I'll try a couple of tests first as well, to make sure that what I see in here is actually going to be able to come out on the base and not use the base as the guinea pig. Although, it's tempting. It's tempting, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, ooh, that didn't work out well. How can I live with that? Or test. So, I know which one makes me more comfortable, and I know what I end up doing all the time anyway. So, but yeah, so we'll take a look at that, see what happens. But I'm excited to show that to you guys next week, hopefully, if I get enough sanding done this week. I need to get that thing up to, I think I'm going to take it up to about 400 before I put color on, maybe just 320. So, but a really, really clean 320, I'll tape it off, and maybe put on a really, really light bit of the stain around the edge, and then and see how it goes from there. Although I'm going back and forth too. I know I'm waffling right now and starting to mumble a little bit, but I'm going back and forth on, do I start with like the dark pink and get that soaked into the figure, and then come back with like a really light coat of black, or do I start with the black, sand it off a bit, and then do the pink? I'm not sure the right answer there, but if you got an idea, maybe tell me about it in the comments below. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me here for the last 48 minutes and 29, 30, 31 seconds. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.